slap echoed through the packed cafeteria like a gunshot. Elara Vance stood perfectly still. Her left cheek burned red, but her eyes stayed cold as she stared at Damien Thorne. Instead of crying or running away like everyone expected, she looked at her watch and spoke calmly. 3 more minutes, she said. 3 more minutes, and I'll have everything I need. The 200 students around them froze. Phones were up recording every second. None of them noticed Elara whisper into the tiny microphone hidden in her collar. Phoenix to Cardinal. Target has taken the bait. Prepare for breach in T-10. Damien laughed, mocking her. He had no idea that within 10 minutes he would be the one crying, and not just from pain. Before we dive deeper into this shocking story of secret identities and dark truths hidden inside an elite school, take a moment to subscribe. If you enjoy stories filled with justice and unexpected twists, leave a comment below. Share your thoughts on bullying, because what's coming next goes far beyond normal teenage cruelty. Blackwood Academy was Connecticut's most prestigious private school. With tuition at $90,000 a year, it offered more than just education, it promised power and privilege. 3 weeks earlier, Elara Vance had arrived as a transfer student on a full scholarship. Her backstory seemed perfect. Parents killed in a car crash, living with an old aunt, top grades from a Kansas public school. But every part of it was a lie. Damien Thorne, 18 years old and heir to Thorne Industries, ruled Blackwood like his own kingdom. Along with his crew, the Apex 8, he used his family's wealth to stay above all consequences. Students whispered about Damien's Friday parties in secret mansions where luxury turned to danger. Chloe Davis, Sophie Lynn, and Isabel Rossi had all attended those parties. None of them were ever seen again. That morning, Elara noticed something. Damien wore a silver ring engraved with a serpent wrapped around a key, the same symbol she had found in Chloe Davis's jewelry box, hidden beneath friendship bracelets. Earlier that day in class, Elara had written with a titanium tactical pen, "Not your average school supply." She sat in the far corner, back to the wall, with a clear view of both exits. Her sneakers showed the wear of someone used to running drills, not casual walks. When Damien and his group cornered her in the hallway, Elara stayed calm. Her breathing was steady, 4 seconds in, 4 seconds out, a technique used by special agents to control stress. She listened to their steps, mapping their positions without looking. "Scholarship girl," Damien sneered, his breath thick with expensive coffee. "From Kansas, huh? First time seeing real money." Elara kept her head down, pretending to be timid. Her fingers tapped against her thigh in a rhythm that spelled out Morse code, Essos DT subjects on site, Damien Thorne. Then she looked up slightly. "Actually," she said softly, "Thorne Industries has an interesting history. The company was founded in 2003, but there's a gap in the tax records from 2019 to 2021. She paused, her tone icy. "That just happens to match the years when the first 3 girls disappeared from your last school, right?" Damien froze completely. His confident posture cracked for a moment. This wasn't information any scholarship student from Kansas should know. "What did you just say?" His voice turned cold. All signs of casual bullying gone. "Oh, I'm just working on my economics homework," Elara said quickly, stepping back and clutching her books tighter. "I should go." But when she turned to leave, Damien grabbed her wrist. In that brief touch, she noticed something strange. Rough calluses on his thumb and index finger, the kind that came from using zip ties over and over, the kind used to restrain people. Just then, Elara's phone buzzed. A text from a blocked number appeared. "Package confirmed. East Building basement. Need extraction as soon as possible." Her heart raced. The 3 missing girls might still be alive, and they were somewhere on this very campus. Now, standing in the cafeteria after Damien's slap, Elara watched him circle her like a predator who didn't realize he was already the prey. The Apex 8 formed a loose circle around them, blocking every exit and making sure everyone could see their leader show. Caleb Vance, Damien's right-hand man, was live-streaming the whole thing on Instagram with the title, "Humiliating Kansas Girl." "Listen carefully, Kansas," Damien said loudly. "This school has its own rules, and the first rule is knowing your place." "Interesting that you mention rules," Elara replied, her voice sharp. "Now, do you know what the federal sentence is for interstate kidnapping? 25 years to life, especially when the victims are under 18. The words hit like an explosion in the silent cafeteria. Caleb's hand shook as he held the phone. The live stream caught his shocked face. "Is she talking about—" "Shut up," Damien yelled, his face turning red. But Elara wasn't done. She pulled out her phone and typed fast, her fingers moving with expert precision. Within 30 seconds, Caleb's live stream cut off. It was replaced by screenshots, encrypted messages between Damien and an unknown contact. "New shipment, ready Friday. Usual pickup point." "How did you?" Damien lunged forward, grabbing Elara's phone, but it was too late. Someone had already screen-recorded everything. Elara had been using a highly secure app on her phone, not something found on normal app stores. This military-grade encryption software could make legally valid audio recordings with timestamp proof, blockchain protection, and forensic recovery. It was the same type of tool law enforcement used. Every threat, every assault, every word was being recorded in a way that could hold up in federal court. Her phone wasn't just a device, it was a full investigation tool. It could access civilian networks while keeping all evidence secure and traceable. Damien's anger exploded. He slammed his hand onto Elara's lunch tray, spilling chocolate milk all over her clothes. The cafeteria went silent. Everyone waited for her to cry or break down like all the others before her. But Elara stayed calm. She glanced at her watch again. 1 minute and 30 seconds, she said softly. 2 minutes until what? Damien snapped, trying to sound in control. "Until my team moves in," Elara replied, wiping the milk from her face with eerie calm. "You just assaulted a federal witness. Congratulations, you just added 5 more years to your sentence. Who? You think you're what?" Damien growled, grabbing her collar and lifting her slightly off the ground. "FBI, CIA, you're just a pathetic charity case pretending to be important." "Close," Elara whispered, her breathing steady despite his grip. "Multi-agency task force on human trafficking." She locked eyes with him. "And Damien, we already found the basement. Your father's network doesn't just operate here. Those parties you host are hunting grounds. You pick out vulnerable girls, lonely ones, scholarship students without strong family ties. Then you invite them to your Friday nightclub, where they are drugged and moved." Principal Maxwell Hayes pushed through the crowd, his face red with outrage. "This is ridiculous. Blackwood Academy is one of the country's top schools. There must be a mistake." Elara turned to him slowly. "Principal Hayes, or should I call you by your real name, Nathaniel Clark?" "The same Nathaniel Clark listed in our files as the East Coast coordinator for the Thorn trafficking ring." Hayes's face went from red to pale. He tried to run, but barely took 3 steps before a SWAT officer tackled him. The principal was dragged away in handcuffs, shouting about lawyers and lawsuits that would never happen. Forensics rolled out a next-generation 3D crime scene scanner, a holographic tool that rebuilt the scene in virtual space while scanning DNA and recovering deleted data from any device nearby. This advanced gear found tiny biological traces and restored files thought gone, linking victims and suspects across borders. Within minutes, the basement's horror was recorded in painful detail. Every surface catalogued, every piece of evidence preserved. Caleb, still shaking with his phone, blurted, "Container at the docks." Damien mentioned it last week. Container BWXU 793. There could be more victims. Elara fed the info through her earpiece. "All units. Possible second site. Shipping container BWXU 793 at Hartford Docks. Proceed with extreme caution. Expect armed resistance. Helicopters grew louder, above not news choppers, but black military craft with federal markings. Parents arrived in luxury cars, thinking it was a routine drill, only to find their children being sorted into witnesses and suspects by federal agents. Amid the chaos, a black Bentley pulled up. Arthur Thorne stepped out, his suit flawless and his face full of controlled fury. He strode toward the scene. "This is outrageous," he roared at Agent Vance. "You have no right to terrorize these children. I'll have your badge for this. Do you know who I am?" Agent Vance smiled coldly. "Arthur Thorne, CEO of Thorne Industries, chairman of Blackwood's board, and the lead operator of an international trafficking ring. You are under arrest for conspiracy to commit human trafficking, kidnapping, and about 30 other federal charges that will keep you locked up." "Dad," Damien cried from where he knelt in custody. "I told him everything. I'm sorry. I couldn't do it anymore." Arthur Thorne looked at his son with pure contempt. "You worthless fool. You've ruined everything our family built over generations. Your family built nothing but misery." Elara stepped forward. "I've documented over 200 victims tied to your network in the last 5 years. Young girls whose only crimes were being vulnerable, poor, or alone." Paramedics came out of the East Building with 3 gurneys. Chloe Davis, Sophie Lynn, and Isabel Rossi were alive but clearly traumatized. Their parents ran to them, crying with relief and pain. Many students began to sob. Elara gently took Chloe's hand. "You're safe now. They'll never hurt you again." Chloe's hollow eyes found Elara. "There are others," she whispered hoarsely. "The container at the docks. At least 20 more. They ship them every month to international buyers." Elara squeezed her hand. "We're already on our way. Every victim will be found. Every perpetrator will be punished. I promise you that." The entire Apex 8 was in custody. Parents arrived to see their children being read rights instead of being picked up. 17 staff members were arrested, their roles ranging from active involvement to willful ignorance. Blackwood Academy, the 100-year-old school that educated senators and CEOs, was closed pending a full federal probe. Elara's phone buzzed. "Doc team update. Container secured. 23 victims recovered alive. Medical teams en route." She closed her eyes for a moment and let herself feel relief. 23 more families would get their children back. 23 more lives saved. Principal Hayes, face down on the ground, began laughing wildly. "You think you've won? You've only scratched the surface." Thorne answers to someone else. "The Hydra has 7 heads, and you've only cut off 1. Elara knelt near him, voice low and fierce. "Then we'll cut off all 7, one by one, school by school, until every child is safe and every predator is locked up." She stood and walked to Agent Vance, who was running the operation. "Sir, permission to speak freely." "Granted, Vance. I want to tell them the truth. All of it." Agent Vance watched her and nodded. "It's your story to tell." Elara faced the crowd of students, parents, and media. She pulled a photo from her wallet and held it up, a smiling girl, barely 16, in a Blackwood uniform. "This is Maya Vance, my older sister. 2 years ago, she went to a Friday party at Damien Thorne's house. She was drugged, kidnapped, and sold to international traffickers. She escaped after 3 months of torture, but the trauma was too much. She took her own life 6 months later, on what would have been her 18th birthday. The crowd went silent. Even the officers paused. "I was 14 when I lost her," Elara said. "The FBI recruited me because I could pass for 17, because I had personal motive, and because I'd spent 3 years training in combat and investigation. Every insult, every moment I stayed silent while being harassed, was worth it to bring these monsters to justice." Arthur Thorne was dragged toward a federal transport vehicle. He suddenly broke free enough to shout, "You'll regret this. The organization will come for you. You have no idea what you've started." Elara walked up close so only he and the officers could hear her. Maya left a journal. She wrote everything: names, dates, places, even account numbers. We've been dismantling your group piece by piece for 2 years. You're just the first domino to fall in public. By tomorrow morning, raids will hit operations in 7 states. Your whole network is finished. As Arthur Thorne was finally secured, Elara's phone vibrated with a text from an unknown number. Impressive work, little wolf, but you only caught the tail. The head has 7 more. Watch your back, Hydra. A chill ran down Elara's spine, but she didn't show it. Out of the corner of her eye, she noticed a black sedan with tinted windows parked outside the school perimeter. The door opened slightly, and a figure inside gestured for her to come closer. Students were being released to their parents, under strict orders not to talk about the investigation. The media stood behind barriers, filming the shocking sight of one of America's most prestigious schools turned into a crime scene. Elara saw several classmates staring at her with a mix of fear and admiration. She was no longer the quiet scholarship girl. She had become something entirely different. Agent Vance approached her. "Outstanding work, Vance, but you know this isn't over." "I know," Elara said, still watching the sedan. The 7 heads, each one likely running its own network. This could take years. Are you ready for that? You're still young. You could walk away, go into witness protection, live a normal life. Elara touched her sister's photo one last time before putting it away. Normal ended the day Maya disappeared. "I'll see this through to the end, no matter how long it takes." She walked toward the sedan, each step taking her further from her old life and deeper into a hidden war most people never knew existed. As she reached for the handle, she looked back at Blackwood Academy one last time. The school that once shaped America's future leaders had been hiding monsters in plain sight. But today, those monsters had learned they weren't untouchable. The figure in the car spoke with a digitally changed voice. "Agent Vance, 7 schools remain, 7 networks still active. Your next mission is ready. Are you prepared?" Elara slid into the car without hesitation. As the sedan drove away from Blackwood Academy, she thought about the 3 girls they had saved that day, the 23 at the docks, and the many others still trapped in nightmares of their own. Damien Thorne was now in custody, crying like the scared boy he truly was. His father would spend the rest of his life in prison. The Apex 8 would face justice. But somewhere out there, 6 more heads of the Hydra were still running, still hunting, still ruining lives. The sedan disappeared into the Connecticut afternoon, carrying Elara Vance toward her next mission. Behind them, Blackwood Academy remained a crime scene, its reputation forever stained. In the cafeteria where it all began, Damien's blood still marked the floor where Elara had defeated him. The powerful had fallen, the weak had risen. Justice had won for now, but in the world of shadows, where Elara now operated, victory was never permanent. The hunt never ends. It only changes prey.